she didn't want to be seen. But in the final frame of part 1, her face lingered, haunted, uncertain, and real. The second woman. Not a headline, not a theory, a survivor of something that almost happened, and a witness to the cracks in a story the world thought it already knew. Her name is still sealed in court records, but her memory is not. She remembers the gravel crunching under her tires as she pulled into the Avery salvage yard, the cold wind, the way the sky felt too big, the way the silence pressed in. A man, not Steven, not Brendan, watching her from the shadows of a garage. His eyes followed her every move. She remembers the way her hands shook as she took photos for Auto Trader. The way her heart hammered when she realized she was completely alone. And the way she made herself smile just to get through it. She remembers leaving, fast, not looking back, telling herself she was being paranoid. And she remembers, months later, seeing Teresa Halbach's face on the news. The same job, the same place, the same feeling. She remembers thinking, that could have been me. For years, she said nothing. Who would believe her? Who would care? But when the story resurfaced, when questions began to rise again, she wrote it all down, every detail, every fear. She sent it to Kathleen Zellner's office, not expecting a reply. But Zellner did reply, and she listened. Kathleen Zellner is not easily rattled. She's seen the inside of too many prisons, spoken to too many men who lost decades to silence and oversight. But this case? This was different. It wasn't just about Steven Avery anymore. It was about a pattern of missed truths and buried details. A pattern of women sent to isolated places. A pattern of stories that didn't line up. Zellner's team began with the affidavit. They cross-referenced Auto Trader logs, cell tower pings, and dispatch records. That's when they found a second name. Another woman scheduled for the same week. A name never mentioned in court. Buried in a digital archive from a now-defunct office, they found a note. 2 photographers assigned. If one cancels, swap coverage. So the question was chilling. Did Teresa take someone else's appointment? Was someone expecting a different woman to show up? Or was any woman enough? The timeline began to shift. Cell tower data, once dismissed, revealed a 42-minute window where Teresa's location was unaccounted for. At a nearby gas station, aged security footage captured a green SUV matching Teresa's driving away, time-stamped nearly an hour after the time prosecutors said she was already dead. The footage was grainy, the plates unreadable, but the message was clear. The state's timeline was flawed. Zellner's team went deeper. They recovered a mirrored hard drive, a digital forensic copy from a computer linked to the Avery property. It had never been entered into evidence, never disclosed to the defense. On it, they found search terms that chilled them: how to burn a body completely, real-life gore photos, kill, hide, burn, Auto Trader routes, Wisconsin counties. But these searches weren't made by Steven or Brendan. They were made by someone else. Someone with access. Someone with a history. Someone who had never been questioned. The digital fingerprint was clear, but the name redacted in every public filing. Zellner's team knew who it was, and so did the police. Meanwhile, the physical evidence was crumbling. The bones found in the burn pit, once held up as the prosecution's smoking gun, were now a source of serious doubt. Forensic anthropologists hired by Zellner found inconsistencies in the burn patterns, the calcination levels, and the presence of animal bones mixed with human remains. Some bones, they argued, had likely been moved, transported, possibly from another burn site, to reinforce the narrative presented at trial. And then came the missing box, a container of bone fragments logged early in the investigation had vanished from the chain of custody. No signature, no transfer, no record. Just gone. But then, a whisper. From the past, a retired evidence clerk came forward, quietly. She remembered a late-night handoff, a box passed to a plainclothes officer. No paperwork, no explanation. She had kept silent for years, fearing for her pension and her safety. But with the case back in the news, she spoke. Her affidavit joined Zellner's growing wall of evidence. The court's response? Predictable. Delay. Deflect. Deny. But outside the courtroom, momentum was shifting. Reddit threads lit up with speculation. Podcasts dissected every motion. Former jurors stepped forward, some saying they were pressured, others admitting they never saw all the evidence. A movement was growing, and at the heart of it all, Teresa Halbach. Her family, still grieving, watched as her name became a national obsession. They wanted closure. They wanted peace. But instead, they got more questions. Zellner wasn't done. She filed motions to retest the blood found in Teresa's RAV4, now with modern technology that could identify planted versus naturally deposited samples. She requested access to the original burn barrels, citing new chemical analysis tools that could detect accelerants never tested for in 2005. She subpoenaed phone data from towers near the quarry, hoping to trace the alternate suspects' movements. Each request met resistance. The state insisted the case was closed, that the jury had spoken, that there was nothing more to learn. But Zellner knew better, because in cases like these, the truth doesn't disappear. It just waits for someone to ask the right question. And the public was asking, why did the key only appear after multiple searches? Why was the RAV4 found so easily after being missed by dozens of officers? Why was there no DNA evidence of violence in the garage? If Brendan's confession was true. And most damning, why were key pieces of evidence hidden or never shared at all? Inside the courthouse, pressure mounted. A hearing was scheduled to review Zellner's new findings. The state filed a motion to seal it, citing ongoing investigations. Outside, reporters gathered. Cameras flashed. Protesters held signs, "Free Steven," "Justice for Teresa," "Open the files." Inside, Zellner stood before the judge. She began with the pendant, the anonymous email, the coordinates, the trace DNA. She presented the second woman's affidavit, the alternate schedule, the cell tower void. She paused on the gas station footage, the green SUV. She walked through the digital trail, the search terms, the device ID, the timeline. She described the missing bones, the late-night handoff, the clerk's confession, and she ended with a question. If this evidence had been presented at trial, would the outcome have been the same? The judge sat silent. The state objected, deflected, argued, but the questions lingered. Outside, Zellner stepped into a wall of microphones. No smile, no soundbite, just a sentence. We're not done yet. But the story didn't stop for the courts. The Avery salvage yard became a pilgrimage, documentary crews, curious tourists, true crime fans photographing rusted cars and faded signs. Inside the house, Dolores baked bread, swept the porch, waited by the phone. She kept a notebook, every rumor, every lead, every missed call. Brendan counted the days on a wall. Seasons changed outside his window. He wondered if the world still remembered him, or if it ever did. Teresa's family waited too. Her room untouched, camera bag on the shelf, the silver pendant. Still missing. And just when things felt quiet again, a new lead. Not an email, not a phone call, a letter. Handwritten, postmarked 2 counties over. Inside, one line. I saw her car. She wasn't alone. Enclosed, a faded photograph, a green SUV, parked near a gravel lot, a man standing beside it. His face turned. The date matched the day Teresa disappeared. Zellner's team tracked the sender, a retired truck driver. He remembered the car, the man, the strangeness of it all. His statement joined the case file. Another hearing scheduled, another objection filed. But this time, the world was watching. Podcasts, news segments, Reddit sleuths, headlines, new witness in Avery case. Could this photo break the case? Is the real killer still free? And somewhere, in a quiet house, the second woman sat by her window, watching the sun fade over Manitowoc. She wondered, would her story matter? Would the truth ever rise? Would justice ever come? Before you go, ask yourself, if you were in Zellner's shoes, what would you do next? If you were Teresa's family, would you want the case reopened or finally put to rest? If you were the second woman, would you step into the light or stay in the shadows? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe, hit the bell, because in part 3, the name they've been hiding might finally be revealed.